So something I did over the weekend is I went to a rally. It was like a rally protest, kind of thing. Here in Indiana. In the point of which was to bully the Indiana State House over all of our anti-trans legislation that's been going through. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. I was posting about it on Twitter during the event. I did not get a whole lot of footage or whatever, but it was honestly a really good. I don't know if any of you would have been expecting this, but there was at least 200 people there. I like at least 200 people, and it was fantastic. All of the speakers were awesome. There were a couple of things that I was a little bit iffy on because, a lot of them were libs, but it was so good. There were 2 state senators there. Let me see if I can pull up their names so you can know who we're talking about. I don't know if anyone here lives in Indiana, but if you do, you might be in one of the districts of these people. Yes, here it is. Senators J.D. Ford and Andrea Hunley were the senators that were there. And it was based. Both of them were based. J.D. Ford is actually the only out LGBT representative in the state, which was really cool to see. They did a drag queen story time, which was awesome. And yeah, it was super good. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is shit that people should be doing. After that event, by the way, because this was put on by the ACLU of Indiana, after that event, they were collecting people to actually write letters to the governor's office, because one of the 5 bills that this was in protest for is going to his desk. Now, I already did this, by the way. I already wrote a letter to the governor. I also wrote one to each of my representatives bullying the fuck out of them, which you should do. Even if you don't live in Indiana, you should bully every representative. Yes, it is going to the desk with Otro. We will talk about it here in just a second, because the segment that I wanted to do, which I guess I'm technically doing right now, is talking about kind of the continuation of the anti-trans war that's going on between conservatives and the rest of society. Because it kind of sucks. And there's a lot that's been going on, and we just kind of need to, address some of it. Not to not hope pill people, by the way, because I still think there's hope. We are on the winning team. But it is the case that conservatives want to make life worse for everyone just to spite trans people. And we're going to go over how and why. So we're going to start with my state, since I was already talking about it. So this is from the ACLU's website, by the way. Stop the Flight of Hate. That was the thing they were branding things as at this event. And so the reason that we're talking about it is these 5 bills. Now, SB 480 is the bill that is on its way to the governor's desk. It's a trans healthcare ban for people under the age of 18. That's what it is. That's what it does. And it is bad. Unfortunately, now here is the unfortunate reality, by the way, for this bill specifically. The unfortunate reality is, much like what happened in Kentucky, Indiana has a very, very dumb state legislature. You see, last year we actually had a trans sports bill that bans trans kids from playing sports in the team that matches their gender in school. We had one of those bills, and it passed the state legislature, and our governor, Governor Holcomb, vetoed it. His justification for doing so was that this is not an issue. Not only is this not something that is you're literally just trying to be mean to one child, essentially, because there's not that many kids participating in this. It's also not an issue. Show me the harm, essentially. He took the same stance that the governor in, what was it, Idaho did? Yeah, it was based. It was actually based. I have a lot of issues with Governor Holcomb and with the government here in Indiana, but it was a good thing that he did. Unfortunately, our state legislature overrode that action, and it became law anyway, which is bad. The unfortunate reality is that even if Governor Holcomb vetoes Senate Bill 480, it will probably get overridden. Actually, it will get overridden. There's no way that it doesn't, because all of my state's representatives are absolute fucking ghouls. Every single one of them. They are all ghouls. But we're going to talk about the other bills here. We have a Don't Say Gay bill that is also a forced outing bill. That is worth noting because everyone talks about it as a Don't Say Gay bill. It also does do forced outing. We have SB 12, which is a book censoring bill. This is literal like 1984 shit, by the way, opening librarians and teachers up to felony prosecution. By the way, the bill in question, felony prosecution for showing students material that could be considered harmful. The only harmful material they're going after is books that reference queer people. House Bill 1569 denies access to gender affirming care for people housed in Department of Corrections. Essentially, if you are in jail, you're not getting gender affirming care. 1407 makes it illegal for child services to consider failure to provide a safe and affirming environment to a trans youth when looking into abusive home environments. That is obviously fucking insane. Now, I would like to point out, for a few of these, they have been facing roadblocks. To my knowledge, this last one here has been having issues getting through the Senate, even though it passed the House. I'm fairly certain that Senate Bill 12 has been having problems getting through the House, even though it's passed the Senate. So there is some level of hope there, but it's bad. It's obviously bad. Let's look at some other things that are going on. Tennessee. We're going to get to Florida, don't worry. Tennessee. This bill did get stopped in the Senate, but it is still bad that this bill even existed. This bill would basically make it to where insurance companies that provide HRT or any other kind of gender affirming care anywhere in the country would lose access to the Medicaid and Medicare programs in the state of Tennessee, which basically means that like 2 insurance companies would even be able to access the program. It would raise the rates of insurance for everyone in the state. They're literally like wanting to make it harder for anyone to get insurance just because trans people in fucking like fucking Pennsylvania are getting HRT. It's actually insane. Florida also had a bill so insane that they ended up having to amend it. I would like to point out, just so we're clear, all of this was true. They did amend it. They did amend the bill. They fixed the issue that would have basically made any treatment for breast cancer illegal. But I need to point out how absolutely fucking ridiculous it is that Florida even had a bill in its legislature that would have been so broad, that it would have made breast cancer treatment illegal. It's so fucking bad, dude. Like, it did get amended. But again, conservatives want you all dead. This one's actually kind of scary. I'll be honest with you. This one is actually kind of scary. Bill gives Florida emergency jurisdiction over trans kids in custody disputes and targets adult care. The bill in Florida, SB 254, has been amended to give the state emergency jurisdiction over trans kids in custody disputes. The bill mandates that doctors provide transgender adults with an informed consent form containing significant misinformation about gender-affirming care. It stipulates that trans adults must receive care from physicians rather than nurse practitioners, considerably restricting one of the most common ways gender-affirming care is prescribed. This is bad. The legislation will also ban gender-affirming care for trans minors. Perhaps the most frightening is the provision granting the state temporary emergency jurisdiction over custody disputes involving trans children and labeling gender-affirming care as serious physical harm. Florida's going ham, and somebody really needs to fucking do something about it. I'll be real with you. Y'all need to get these people out of office. A particularly harmful aspect of the bill is its targeting of trans adults by limiting their access to care solely through physicians. Notably, a significant portion of gender-affirming care across the U.S. is provided by nurse practitioners. This model is utilized by many Planned Parenthood clinics and dozens of practices throughout Florida. By confining gender-affirming care to physicians alone, the state is poised to increase costs and create potentially insurmountable barriers for its residents seeking such care, including lengthy wait lists. Again, this is, by the way, genocide. Functionally, this is part of the genocide. Do not let them tell you otherwise. Yeah, this was the Florida bill that was amended. Defined so broadly it would ban health insurance coverage for birth control, HRT for menopause, treatments for breast cancer, including mastectomies, treatments for prostate cancer, and any treatment that involves primary or secondary sex characteristics. Jesus fucking Christ. I also wanted to go over this. This is an article from CTV News, which is a Canadian article. I thought it was worth talking about because it was just kind of interesting that even Canada, like other countries know how bad it's getting here. It sucks. The reason why I wanted to go through all of this was sort of kind of a state of the world type thing. And the reason why I opened with the story about going to that rally is I, again, want to point out, not all hope is lost. It does suck. All of this sucks. The Florida bill is really fucking bad, but not all hope is lost. There are things that we can do. And we are on the winning team. Just want to continue to remind you of that. We'll keep doing it every single segment if I have to, if that is what it takes. As Paco said, these bills are partially a reflection of conservative weakness. They would not have to go so hard if they weren't losing. Like, that needs to be made perfectly clear. If they were not on the losing team, they would not be going this hard. This is the final death throes of a dying ideology. No, Aztec, it is wild. That, like, you can just live in a blue state and it's basically like living in a different country as far as this, like, care goes. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to go over with this. I wanted to show the state of the world, talk about the broader, like, aspect. Again, conservatives are just trying to make life worse for everyone. Generally, they hate all of you. They want all of you to die. They're doing it just to spite trans people. Generally. Like they're just using us as an excuse. Like I said, they are losing. And this is just them trying to grasp for any sense of power. Yeah, remember that Kentucky poll that showed conservative voters hate the trans stuff? Yeah. Like, it's not popular. They hate themselves too. Yeah, it's just a death cult. It's just a death cult. But we will win. But yeah, that's about all I've got for this. See you next time. Hi, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to support the channel further, consider leaving a donation at streamlabs.com/sagealexis/tip, becoming a channel member by clicking the join button, or going to patreon.com/sagealexis and becoming a patron. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.